It didn't mean anything. It was just a break. You're overreacting. If you loved me, you'd understand. She said after I discovered she'd slept with my friend during our pause and continued their affair for a month after we reconciled. So I understood and left. Now she's begging for forgiveness and I feel nothing. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. The smell of garlic and rosemary was supposed to be the only thing filling my head that night. I was following a new recipe, something fancy with chicken and lemon that Qley had pinned weeks ago. A peace offering. Our break had officially been over for a month, and things felt fragile, but good. We were trying. Her iPad was on the kitchen counter, a sleek black rectangle beside a pile of discarded onion skins. My phone was dead, charging in the bedroom. The recipe was open on her device anyway. It was easier to just use hers. That was my first mistake. A notification slid onto the top of the screen as I was scrolling down to check the oven temperature. Ryan, missed that view. The message preview disappeared as quickly as it had come, leaving a cold, hard knot in my stomach. Ryan. My friend Ryan. Our friend, Ryan. The one who had bought us shots the night Qley and I had officially called off our break. The one who had clapped me on the back and said, "Welcome back, brother. Knew you guys would figure it out." The pit in my gut told me that message wasn't about a sports game. My thumb hovered over the screen. This was the line. Do you cross it? Do you willingly shatter your own peace? But the chill was already spreading through my veins. The trust was already broken. I just didn't know the shape of the pieces yet. I tapped the message. iMessage opened. The thread with Ryan was long, but the most recent messages were from today. Ryan, you free later? Qley can't. He's making some big dinner. Trying to be the perfect boyfriend again. Ryan, lame. Missed that view. Qley, face-blowing kiss soon. I scrolled up. My heart wasn't pounding. It was beating a slow, dull, painful rhythm against my ribs. The messages got flirtier, more explicit. I kept scrolling, back through weeks, my hand feeling numb. Back to the dates that were seared into my memory. Back to the week of our break. It was her idea. A pause. She said she felt smothered, needed space to breathe, to think. I'd been devastated, but tried to be understanding. I gave her the space. I spent that week in a fog of misery, clinging to the hope that it was temporary. One night, my coworker, Sarah, had a few too many drinks at a team happy hour. She'd gotten close, put a hand on my arm, and said, "You're too good to be sitting around sad, Mark. She doesn't know what she's got." I gently removed her hand. "I appreciate it, Sarah, but no, I love Qley. We're just paused." That was loyalty. That was love. Qley's version of a pause was different. The messages from the first night of our break were right there on the screen. Qley, he's gone. Staying at his brother's. Ryan, so it's really done? Qley, for now, winking face, you gonna keep me company? Ryan, on my way. I felt physically ill. I scrolled faster, through the mundane messages of their week-long affair, right up to the day she called me, her voice sweet and shaky, asking if we could try again. I'd rushed over, elated, thinking our love had conquered everything. The messages from that very day told a different story. Ryan, so are we done now that you're back with Mark? Qley, we have to be more careful. I still need you. Ryan, smiling face with horns, I like careful. They had continued. For a month. In my home. In my bed, for all I knew. Every time I'd worked late. Every time she'd gone for drinks with the girls. It was all him. The timer on the oven beeped, a shrill, meaningless sound. The chicken was done. I stood there, staring at the screen, at the evidence of my own idiocy. The carefully chopped herbs, the sliced lemons, the meal I'd made to nurture a relationship that was already rotting from the inside out. It was all a joke. I heard her key in the door. Mark? Something smells amazing, she called out, her voice bright and false. I didn't move. I just waited, the iPad held loosely in my hand. She walked into the kitchen, smiling, dropping her purse on a chair. Her smile faltered when she saw my face. Hey, everything okay? Who's Ryan? I asked. My voice was calm. Too calm. It didn't sound like mine. Her face went through a rapid series of adjustments. Confusion, recognition, fear, and then, finally, defiance. What about him? I saw a message pop up. On your iPad. While I was using your recipe. I held it up. He misses the view. Her eyes widened for a split second before narrowing. You went through my messages? Mark, that's a huge invasion of privacy. I can't believe you'd do that. I almost laughed. The audacity was breathtaking. Yeah, that's the issue here. My invasion of privacy. We were on a break. The words exploded out of her, a pre-rehearsed defense. It was a technicality. It didn't mean anything. It meant enough for you to keep it going for a month after we got back together, I said, my tone still flat, devoid of the rage she was expecting. You lied to my face every single day. You are completely overreacting, she snapped, her voice rising, trying to overpower my quiet with her volume. It was just sex. What? You never thought about being with someone else. God, I needed to get it out of my system. If you loved me, you'd understand that. This is exactly why we needed the break in the first place. Your fucking insecurity. There it was. The masterpiece. She had cheated, lied, and betrayed me, and it was my fault. My insecurity. My failure to understand. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I'd loved, the woman I'd defended to my family, the woman I'd pictured a future with. She was a stranger, and an ugly one at that. The fight drained out of me, replaced by a cold, certain clarity. There was nothing here to save. There was no argument to win. You can't reason with a reality that someone is determined to twist. Okay, I said. The word hung in the air between us. It was so small, so simple. It wasn't angry. It wasn't sad. It was just final. Her smug, defensive posture wavered. She was braced for a war, and I'd just surrendered a battlefield she suddenly realized she didn't want to win. Wait, what? Okay, what does that mean? Mark, where are you going? I was already moving. I walked past her, into the living room, and picked up my laptop bag. I went to the hallway closet and grabbed the go bag I used for the gym. Wait, Mark, stop. We need to talk about this. Her voice was laced with panic now. She followed me, her heels clicking on the hardwood. You can't just leave. I stopped at the door, my hand on the knob. I turned and looked at her one last time. The dinner was burning. The apartment smelled like smoke and rosemary. I'll be back for the rest of my things tomorrow while you're at work, I said, my voice still eerily calm. Then I opened the door and walked out. I didn't slam it. I closed it softly, leaving her standing in the ruins of the life she'd blown up, completely silent behind me. The door clicked shut behind me, a soft, final sound that was louder than any slam could have been. I stood in the hallway for a moment, the weight of my laptop bag and gym duffel the only tangible things in a world that had just dissolved into smoke. I could hear nothing from the other side of the door. No screaming, no crying. Just a stunned, furious silence. I had denied her the drama she craved, and in doing so, I had taken all the power. I drove to my brother's apartment in a trance. The city lights blurred past. I replayed the conversation in my head, but not with pain, with a clinical detachment. Her words weren't weapons anymore. They were evidence. Evidence of her character. You're overreacting. It was just a break. Your insecurity. Each phrase was a bullet I had calmly stepped around. My brother, Ben, opened the door. He took one look at my face and the bag in my hand and didn't ask stupid questions. Couch is yours, he said, stepping aside. You want a beer? Yeah, I said, my voice rough. Yeah, I do. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I sat on his couch, drank the beer, and told him the facts in a monotone. Qley slept with Ryan during our break. Kept seeing him after we got back together. I found out. I left. Ben stared at me, his face a storm of anger he knew I couldn't feel yet. That son of a bitch. Both of them. What do you need? To not go back there while she's home tomorrow, I said. I need to get my stuff. I'll drive you, he said instantly. We'll get it done in an hour. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Then again, and again, a flurry of texts lit up the screen. Qley, you can't just walk out like that. Qley, we need to talk about this like adults. Qley, you're being so immature. Qley, are you really just going to ignore me? After everything? I didn't read them all. I went into my settings, found her name, and blocked her number. Then I blocked her on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, everything. It wasn't an act of anger. It was administrative, like closing accounts for a business that had declared bankruptcy. The silence that followed was the most peaceful sound I'd heard in months. The next day, with Ben as a stoic, silent witness, I emptied my half of the life Qley and I had built. It was surgical. Clothes, books, my vinyl collection, my toolbox. I left anything that held a memory of us. The framed photos, the silly mugs from vacations, the garish throw pillow she loved. I was carving my own shape out of the tumor that had been our relationship. I moved into a short-term lease apartment, a bland, beige box that smelled of clean carpet and nothing else. It was perfect. It held no ghosts. The first week was the hardest, but not in the way I expected. The pain wasn't a sharp stab. It was a deep, bone-aching numbness. I'd go to work, do my job, come home, and stare at the wall. I didn't have the energy for anything else. I was detoxing. I didn't talk about it. When mutual friends reached out with a hesitant, "Hey, are you okay?" Qley said, "You guys." I'd shut it down. "We broke up. It's for the best. I don't really want to talk about it." I refused to give them her narrative. I started running, punishing miles along the river, where the rhythm of my feet on the pavement and the burn in my lungs drowned out the noise in my head. I'd come home exhausted, shower, and sleep a dreamless sleep. The clarity came slowly. In the quiet, I stopped hearing her voice telling me I was insecure. I started hearing my own, and my voice was calm. It said, "You were not insecure. You were betrayed. You were not lacking. You were loyal." Her actions are not a reflection of your worth, but of her own. The numbness began to thaw, not back into sadness, but into a solid, unshakable resolve. I was building a new life, brick by brick, and the foundation was made of self-respect. The news trickled in through the grapevine, from friends who were finally seeing the truth and felt guilty for initially believing her "he's just being insecure" spin. It started at a party I wasn't at. Mike, a good guy from our wider circle, told Ben about it later, his voice laced with disgust. Ryan, emboldened by his conquest and a few too many beers, was holding court by the keg. Mike overheard him bragging. "Yeah, man, it was too easy," Ryan slurred to a captive, uncomfortable audience. The second she said they were on a break, she was blowing up my phone. Couldn't get enough of it. Guess reliable Mark wasn't giving her what she needed. He laughed, a crude, ugly sound. Ditched Old Faithful for a real man. She's a wild one, I'll give her that. He didn't just imply they were together during the break. He boasted about the month after, too. He painted her as desperate, easy, and disloyal. He wasn't painting himself in a great light either, but he was too stupid and arrogant to see it. The mutual friends who heard it were horrified. They finally understood why I'd vanished. It wasn't insecurity, it was dignity. The women in the group, especially, were livid. They felt used. Qley had cried on their shoulders about our rough patch, all while secretly sleeping with my friend. The fallout was swift and brutal. The friend group splintered. Most sided with me, not because I'd asked them to, but because Ryan's bragging and Qley's deception were indefensible. She and Ryan were toxic pariahs. Their passionate affair imploded under the weight of reality. Without the secrecy and the illicit thrill, they had nothing. Ryan, having achieved his conquest, got bored and dropped her. He was already hitting on another girl in the group by the following weekend. Qley was left completely alone, isolated, humiliated. The person she'd blown up her life for was a bragging jackass, and the person she'd left behind had quietly built a fortress of a life without her in it. Karma didn't need my help. It just needed the truth. And Ryan, in his infinite arrogance, had delivered it on a silver platter. The first attempt was a text from an unknown number. It came through on a Saturday morning while I was cleaning my apartment. Unknown number. "Mark, it's Qley. I'm so sorry. Ryan is a liar. He's twisting everything to make himself look good. Can we please talk? I miss you." I read it. I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. No flicker of hope. It was just words on a screen from a stranger. I deleted the message and blocked the number. The second attempt came through a more direct channel. Her best friend, Jessica, the ringleader of her toxic squad. My phone rang that evening. "Mark? Hey, it's Jessica." Her voice was artificially bright, laced with a condescending tone she'd always used with me. "Jessica," I said, my voice flat. "Look, I'm calling because I'm worried about Qley. She's a mess. Like, a total wreck. I know things ended badly, but how could you just abandon her like that? It's been months, and you're just gone. It's cruel." I took a slow breath. "Jessica," I repeated, my tone firmer, leaving no room for argument. "My relationship with Qley is over. It's not up for discussion. Please do not call me again. I didn't wait for her sputtered response. I hung up. The third attempt was the most desperate. A voicemail. Her voice was raw, choked with sobs, the carefully constructed facade completely gone. Mark? Oh God, Mark, please pick up. Everyone hates me. Ryan told everyone these horrible lies. They all think I'm some kind of slut. You have to talk to me. You have to tell them it wasn't like that. You're the only one who knows the truth. You're the only one who can fix this. Please. I have no one else. I'm so sorry. Please. The message ended with a broken sob. I stood in my clean, quiet kitchen and listened to the entire thing. I listened to the tears that weren't for me, but for her ruined reputation. The apology that wasn't for what she did, but for getting caught. I felt a distant pang of pity, quickly smothered by overwhelming indifference. I deleted the voicemail. I did not engage. The ghost of the man I was would have rushed to save her. The man I had become simply did not care. Months later, Ben convinced me to go to a barbecue at our friend Dave's place. The crew will be there, he said. The real crew. The ones who know what happened. It's time, man. You can't become a hermit. Reluctantly, I agreed. I'd been focusing on work, on my running, on my peace. The thought of socializing felt foreign, but maybe Ben was right. I was standing with Dave and a few others by the grill, laughing at a stupid story about a work trip, a cold beer in my hand. I was okay. I was actually having a good time. Then I saw her. Qley looked diminished. She hovered near the edge of the patio, her shoulders hunched. She looked tired. She scanned the crowd, her eyes landing on me. They widened, and she started making a beeline straight for me, a determined, desperate look on her face. The conversation around me died down. Dave gave me a sympathetic glance. Mark, she said, her voice tight. Hi, can we talk? Just for 5 minutes. Please. I took a slow sip of my beer. Qley, I acknowledged. She launched in, the words tumbling out in a rushed whisper. I've been through hell. You have no idea. Everyone turned on me. Ryan, he destroyed my life. He told everyone these stories. I looked at her, really looked. I saw the desperation, the need for validation, for absolution. I felt nothing. That's too bad, I said, my voice calm and even. She flinched like I'd slapped her. She expected anger, sympathy, something. Not this void. Aren't you going to say anything? She pleaded, her voice cracking. Aren't you sorry for me? We were together for 4 years. Doesn't that mean anything to you? You told me I was overreacting, I said, mirroring her words back to her with deadly precision. You told me it didn't mean anything. You told me if I loved you, I'd understand. So I understood. I paused, letting the weight of my indifference settle on her. I understood that we wanted different things. You wanted a break. I gave you a permanent one. Her face crumpled, then hardened. The mask of the victim slipped, revealing the anger beneath. The true colors. This isn't you, she hissed, her voice rising, drawing glances from people nearby. You're not this cold. Stop being an asshole and just forgive me. I said I was sorry. I looked at her, this angry, humiliated, irrelevant woman, and for the first time, a faint, pitying smile touched my lips. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile you give a toddler having a tantrum. Qley, I said, my voice so quiet she had to lean in to hear it, cementing her defeat. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there were consequences. I took a final, slow sip of my beer and looked around at the friends, the life, the peace I had without her. And honestly, I said, meeting her eyes one last time, I'm not even sorry anymore. I'm just indifferent. Have a good life. I turned my back on her. I turned back to Dave and the grill. Sorry about that, man. So, where did you find this marinade recipe? The conversation slowly picked up again around me. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I heard the sharp, choked sound she made. I heard her footsteps retreating, quick and shaky, across the patio. I didn't watch her leave. She was already gone. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.